Indianapolis Coliseum. It's the 130th edition of the Dillon Sunflower Showdown. 7th-ranked Kansas State in first place in the Big 12, taking on the rivals from 90 minutes up the road in the Kansas Jayhawks. Brian Smoller with you, along with former All-Big 12 guard Missy Heidrich. Glad you could join us. Hannah Whetstone will join us in a moment. Of course, there are storylines for both of these two teams, and one of them has been the red-hot play of Samaya Nichols and the girl that will be guarding her today, and that's Jaylin Glenn.
Well, this is a rivalry game, and while the storyline is the marquee post, I believe it's going to be one in the backcourt trenches. Keep your eye on K-State junior Jaylin Glenn. The 6'1 guard, 31% for 3 on the season. 10 points in 32 minutes last Saturday versus Texas, but she's focused on becoming an elite defender on the perimeter. Her length and her size is key. For Kansas, it is Samaya Nichols, the reigning Big 12 Freshman of the Week, a highly touted freshman living up to the expectations. Averaging 14-plus a game in Big 12 play, the 6' guard had 14 in their loss at Texas. She's versatile, she's completely skilled with a high basketball IQ, and she is playing with big-time poise. She's going to need that here this afternoon.
Jeff Biddy's team, of course, missing a key cog. For more on that, let's go to one of our key members of our crew, Hannah Whetstone, with more on Ayoka Lee.
Hey, thanks, Brian. K-State's leading scorer, Ayoka Lee, will miss roughly 4 weeks of action after suffering an ankle injury in last week's matchup against Texas. And while she was playing through that pain, she was named the Ann Myers Drysdale National Player of the Week. She underwent surgery just yesterday for that ankle injury.
And as you said, we'll be out for some period of time, Missy. What does that mean for not just today, but for the immediate future for K-State?
Well, you've got to figure out who to replace. 17-plus points, 8-plus boards a game in Big 12 play. She's second in this league in field goal percentage, and she's been the difference maker for this team. I have said all season long, on anybody that will listen, any broadcast, anything I have done, is that as this team goes, Ayoka Lee goes. Well, she's not here today. How will this team respond? What is it going to look like? And how does Kansas handle that? Because Brandon Schneider knows their scout very different than it was 24 hours ago.
So all of a sudden, Tiana Jackson in the matchup we thought we would see of 6'6 Jackson against the 6'7 lead, no longer, as it'll be Gisela Sanchez who gets the first start of the season for K-State. A lob over the top two, Jackson pinned down and turnover on the first possession for Kansas. So K-State will have their 5 headed the other way. As we mentioned, Sanchez gets her first career start in place of Lee. She is working with Jackson, well away for the basket. A cut by Glenn, and Bradley Glenn with the first bucket of the game.
This game is going to have to be played at a different pace now, Brian, without Lee in the lineup for Kansas State. But KU's going to have to make some of those adjustments defensively.
A lot of this lineup back from a year ago. The only addition, Samaya Nichols, the best 4 starters return for Brandon Schneider's team, who won the postseason WNIT. Big things were expected for Kansas this year, but they've had a tough go as Sanchez gets her first foul on the drive on the baseline by Nichols.
And you're going to see so much of that today, I think, from this 5-star recruit. We said 14 points, 5 assists in their loss against Texas earlier this week. But she's been their leading scorer on the year. And the thing you got to like about Nichols is her versatility. Brandon Schneider says it from the get-go. She's a very skilled player already as a freshman, plays with a lot of poise. She's got great basketball IQ, but when you're with her in the game, you also got to have your head on the swivel because she is going to look to pass and create.
With the U.S. national team, she makes the second impact player from a year ago. Lifelong KU fan that ended up with the Jayhawks out of Overland Park, Shawnee Mission West. 2-2 in the Dillon Sunflower Showdown, a minute in, and a different tenor to this one with K-State against such a red-hot team this year, playing without their superstar center. Sanchez with a 3-pointer, unable to hit.
And now you're going to see this Wildcat offense have to spread the floor a little bit more. But if you're Kansas, that's where the ball's got to go. They've got to get touches inside for Tiana Jackson. And she's averaging about 11 points and 10 boards a game in Big 12 play. And that's the kind of feed she's going to have because they've got a size advantage inside today.
Sanchez does have range from the outside, but has had a tough go of it this year from 3-point distance. Bradley Glenn is left open. She drills a 3-pointer.
And a streaky shooter all season long is where Bradley Glenn has been. You got to put her in that bucket. She just had about 13-plus minutes a game in Big 12 play. She started every game for Jeff Mittie. Part of that is to have some experience out on the floor, and they need them to be good defenders and be aggressive out front.
K-State, that's one thing that opponent coaches have talked about, that K-State's length is somewhat deceiving, that their guard length is what gives teams so many issues. The Wildcats come in ranked #1 in the nation in nearly every defensive metric.
It just makes it so difficult to get your offense moving because of that length, the fact that they cover gaps, they're in help side, they really work together good defensively as a team.
Offensive foul called on Gisela Sanchez, and that's going to be her second.
And now 2 on Sanchez, and this bench gets shorter for Jeff Mittie. And one of the issues they've had all season long without Lee, and when they take her out of the game, is a solid replacement in the lineup. Well, Sanchez gets the start today. They play smaller, but now without her, and as she picks up those fouls, it looks a little bit different for Mittie and his staff.
Jackson walked and turned it over, so another turnover, and Jeff Mittie will have to go to the bench to call on another post player. It'll be Amani Lester, who has played well in limited stretches for K-State.
Yeah, she's playing 4 of the 5 Big 12 games so far this season. As you said, it's been limited stretches, Brian, and I think part of it is understanding the size, the physicality, and the speed of the game. Didn't play a year ago at Louisville as a redshirt freshman, now coming to Kansas State.
Lester has shown flashes, though, here recently in Big 12 play of being very good, and she rips the ball away on the drive by Mayberry. So K-State's defense has shown so far that they are not missing a beat, and the nation's best when it comes to scoring defense, field goal percentage, three-point percentage defense.
If you're an attack mentality where Kansas has to be this afternoon, you're going to have to put it on the floor and get to the rim. They've got to continue to be aggressive.
Sundell, in and out it goes, back to Briley Glenn, could not hit this three, and the rebound for Jackson. In the upset of 4th-ranked Baylor, the Jayhawks showed the potential that many thought they would have this season. They routed the then-ranked 4th-ranked Bears, and it was a big day for Tayana Jackson in that contest, early 2020. Mayberry tries her hand at the three, it's off the mark. So to your point about getting the ball to Jackson, if you're Kansas, you want her to get the ball and get going early.
She has to be the focal point for this Jayhawk offense this afternoon. I think the biggest factor for them is going to allow her to post, get touches where she can operate.
Lester from the free throw line, unable to hit. Offensive rebound being chased down by Kerskeeter. The veteran Jayhawk guard on the run, slams into Sundell, has the shot blocked out of bounds. It'll stay with KU. Sundell now with 14 blocks on the year, second on K-State's team.
And that's pace of play right here for Kansas, and you see it, Kerskeeter trying to draw that foul, but great defense by Serena Sundell, using that length and the athleticism to get back, keep the ball handler in front.
Early break for Jackson, she's out of the game, and Papadopoulou is in instead. Native of Greece is in the middle to match up with Lester. Setting high screens for Nichols. Nice shot fake. Nichols up and under. Got the basket.
And that's that poise for the freshman, just to be able to kind of take what the defense gives you. And if you're Kansas State, you've got to be in help side. They've got to be able to keep those penetrators in front.
Lester given some room, trying to get the ball inside to Gregory, and the foul underneath, and that's going to be on Brian Cobbins, who's got the super sub for the Jayhawks, who was guarding Gregory underneath.
And Nichols took one, I think, in the mouth as she made this move to the hoop on the last possession. Gregory gets caught up, and a little extra action as she goes, and then she just ran into her own teammate after the made bucket going the other way, but doesn't seem any worse for the wear. Ball back in her hands right now.
K-State turns it over on the inbound, and then an offensive foul will be called on Nichols.
And a little bit disjointed possessions right now for Kansas as they kind of figure out where they have to get those touches offensively. And Nichols took one in the face kind of as she came off. Now 2 shots in the last couple possessions here. She's going to go out of the game. The last was called as a moving screen and a player control foul. So the possession goes back to Kansas State here, who has struggled to find some quality shots within their framework.
Now, 2 teams that know each other very well. A turnover here by K-State. 5 already by Kansas. That's the second for K-State. The Jayhawks have turned it over on 4 of their last 5 possessions. Neither team has scored in over 3 minutes.
You go back to the last game K-State has played because of the forfeit against TCU on Wednesday. They had 18 turnovers against Texas, and the pressure and the chaos that the Longhorns bring at you defensively. But that was just 14 points that Texas was able to turn into those. You see just late on the help there Lester draws that foul, and now Jeff Mittie having to go deep into his bench without the services of Ioka Lee here this afternoon.
Lester will come out for a visit with Jeff Mittie. Again, it's a teaching process for the young freshman, and in comes Eliza Maka, the sophomore. Who was a star really budding down the stretch for K-State a season ago. Sakaya Franklin at the free throw line. And she missed both free throws. Surprising for an 82% free throw shooter. K-State gets the ball. Ziana Walker in for the first time. Another transfer from Louisville. Walker, a former Gatorade Kansas Player of the Year. Sundell the drive and the layup.
No one on the help side in the back there for Kansas. And now you see a different mentality offensively. It's going to be a lot of dribble drive, penetration, and create for Kansas State this afternoon.
Both of these two teams have struggled from long distance. They only average about 6 threes a game and rank in the lower half of the league in percentage. Jaden Glenn in transition tries to steal and hits a three.
And that is where the junior has been effective as of late. Since she hit 2 big threes against Texas a week ago in this building, finding some comfort from behind the three-point line.
Konisa has the ball stripped, trying to stay with it. The foul will be called on Jaden Glenn. They're calling it tight here to begin.
And late whistle right there, but a reach on Glenn. But a big three that takes it here. And this Kansas State team finding some rhythm offensively, up 10-6.
Check it out.
Introducing the new and improved taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar. Now more delicious. Zero never tasted so good. Try it now.
Hi, this is Coach Tang, and we're used to talking about all things basketball. But right now, I want you to hear these 4 important words about the growing crisis of drug overdose. One pill can kill. Here's one way you can help. If you know someone at risk, be prepared with a life-saving medication called naloxone. This nasal spray can reverse the symptoms of an overdose and save lives.
Get it free from the Kansas Naloxone program by visiting kdads.ks.gov.
You know, with the new Rivalry Riches instant ticket from the Kansas Lottery, you're supposed to scratch both sides. Suit yourselves. But with Rivalry Riches, you could scratch your way up to $50,000. Just be sure to play both sides.
Schneider talking to his team. We give Missy's coach speak here at Coach Talk. Keys to victory for these two teams.
Well, for the Jayhawks, it's post alive. They're going to need a big day today from Tiana Jackson. Others inside on both ends. They've got to defend, and then they've got to score now at a higher level without Ioka Lee in the lineup. And the defense to offense in their Big 12 victories, they have defended at a high level to feed their offense. They've got to do that today to control that pace and find some easy ways to score. And this K-State team, it is the rest and prep. No game Wednesday. You've got to dial it in. They've got a lead here to start in this first 5 minutes. And you want to hunt some threes, just 2 of 5 in the first 5+ minutes here, Brian. But they're going to get those shots. They got to step up and knock them down.
So far they have. 2 of 5 is much better than where they've been for the season, 31%.
Keep in mind, Kansas is giving up 8+ a game defensively. Therefore, they're going to close out slow. They haven't been in the gaps. They've given up those threes. So this is where K-State's got to be creative offensively. Again, without Lee, it changes how they're going to play today, but you've got to find some of those shots.
Ty Walker gets her shot blocked with a foul on Tiana Jackson. Let's go to Hannah Whetstone with more from the Huddle.
Thanks, Brian. Coach Mitty imploring his team to, quote, build that wall inside on defense and just prohibit that KU penetration.
That foul was not against Jackson, Brian, and so that's going to change things a little bit. But you see where she is going to be that back line of help. It's an elite shot blocker herself, who's on all sorts of lists coming into the season. She was a unanimous Big 12 all-conference player in the preseason polls. Last year, one of the top finalists of the National Defensive Player of the Year simply because of her ability to change how teams play. Ultimately, right now, if you're Kansas State, you've got to know Jackson is in the back line. If you're going to penetrate, you've got to find open shooters out on the perimeter.
Back for more on Tiana Jackson. Let's go to Hannah.
Tiana Jackson ranks second on KU's all-time blocks list and was a unanimous All-Big 12 preseason pick. And head coach Brandon Schneider said she's extremely valuable to our success. When she's on the court, we are a completely different team. The key is keeping her out of foul trouble and in the game.
Now, foul trouble's been the issue for Jackson at times this year, and that was, as Missy mentioned, a good omen early that they avoided the foul. As she worked inside, kick ball here by Kansas will keep the ball with K-State. The foul was on Franklin a moment ago, or on Conessa, I should say.
I asked Brandon Schneider before the game, when is your team defense at its highest level? Obviously, as Hannah said, when Tiana Jackson is in the ball game, but also they've got to rebound defensively at a high level. She's a big key to that.
Jalen Glenn getting to the basket. That is something we outlined at the start of the show. She's been so good with it lately, averaging nearly 12.5 points in Big 12 play.
Well, someone else has got to pick up that slack. When you remove 17 points a game in conference wins, this team undefeated at the moment, who's going to step up early? It's been Glenn.
8-0 run here by Kansas State. Nichols working against Maupin. He had the ball knocked off of the leg of Maupin. It'll stay with KU. Not on the shot clock as you look at Samaya Nichols.
And an interesting matchup a little bit on the switch, some of those high ball screens. And so that's where K-State's going to have to be careful because Nichols wants to turn that corner as she creates for others very, very easily.
First Skeeter. They find the open three. It's Franklin. Just off. And the rebound to Sundell. The first gap go raised by K-State. Gap go defensively has become a staple of this team this year. It's been in the national news. 3 successive stops presents a gap. They have a goat that gets raised when it happens. Maupin with the offensive board and foul on the putback.
It's a big drive right here, and you see Glenn, she just loses it going up, but on the weak side, that's where Maupin is. It looks as though they have made a substitution. Tiana Jackson has gone out of the game. Maupin now at the free throw line, but it's going to be some big minutes here for the sophomore. We saw Lester already with some. I really Greer could have to come in for Jeff Mitty. He's going to have to go deep to that bench. And this is going to be a little bit by committee now when you don't have the services of Ioka Lee here today.
Maupin at the free throw line. Jeff Mitty said her practice level has been very high the last week or so, getting more playing time in games. Sophomore from Webster Groves, Missouri. And Gregory returns for Maupin. So K-State has held the Jayhawks to 2 of 9 shooting. They have forced 5 Jayhawk turnovers. And now no Jackson for the moment, who ran into the locker room after being subbed out. Looked like she got hit in the mouth. Mayberry. Kerskeeter. Stripped as she drives by Riley Glenn. 2-on-2, and Walker decides discretion the better part of valor. Deep three for Gregory. In and out.
Those are good looks. That's what K-State's got to do. It's got to be penetration and find open shooters. When no Jackson in the lineup, now you got a chance to get to the rim.
Kerskeeter blocked by Sundell. The second block for the 6'1.5" point guard. Walker in transition 3, way off the mark. Gregory misses the rebound. And the Jayhawks at an up-and-down pace get it back.
Yeah, this is the kind of place they're going to want to play at right here. Now, Kansas State with a little bit more depth in their backcourt and the ability to score out in transition, but they've got to find an easy way to get some buckets here early.
Franklin over Walker, unable to hit. One and done, and another gap go up for K-State.
Franklin 0 of 4 now here, 0 of 2 from behind that three-point line, not finding a lot of confidence or really feeling comfortable offensively in the half court.
Jaden Glenn isolated against Nichols. Gregory, who's missed 2 threes with in-and-out shots. Walker, tough look, gets the foul call inside against Talendi.
And it's a little phonetic and seems a little bit chaotic, I think, for both of these teams offensively, trying to make something happen. But this just looks very different if you're a Kansas State fan tuning in and wondering, where's Ioka Lee? Well, out 4+ weeks, and now this team has to change. You got to change your scope and change your mentality. They're going to have to themselves play faster. And this Kansas team's got to be able to lock down penetration, keep them in front, funnel to the help, and really force them to have to beat you over the top.
One more free throw for Walker. Drills it. And K-State blows their lead up to 10 as they bring in their freshman point guard, Terrence Sides, the nation's leader in assist-to-turnover ratio. Under a minute to go in the first quarter. Kansas State off to a good start. In this, the 130th edition of the Dillon Sunflower Showdown. Nichols posting up Riley Glenn. Gets the foul call as she pulls her way inside.
I like that call right there by Kansas as they go one-on-one in isolation for Nichols. Really has been the only offense besides some three-point looks that they have not been able to knock down. But to go one-on-one and post up a little small guard action, it's going to give Nichols a chance herself to get to the free throw line, where she's been just about 79% in Big 12 play.
Missed.
Announcer jinx, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
KU a little bit of a struggle shooting the ball here to begin. Just 2 of 5 at the line. They've hit just 2 of 11 shots and not a 3 in 5 attempts. And Nichols misses both. So the Jayhawks shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. Nobody guards Walker. She gets all the way to the basket and lays it in.
And they've been done by the freshman. You got to see what's ahead of you. Eyes up. Make the play. She does it full court end to end.
Mayberry, one of the many sixth-year seniors on this KU team. And a drive inside and a foul on Sides as Franklin will get back to the free throw line. Sides first, and what has been a foul fest here early.
It is like Kaya Walker going straight one-on-one. And no one picked the basketball up. A miscue and a breakdown defensively for Kansas. And Walker, the redshirt freshman, takes advantage. You love to be able to see just that confidence, to be able to get it on an honor, to get that rebound, get it on an outlet, get to the middle of the floor. Nobody picks you up. Keep attacking. She did exactly that. Coming off a game where she was 50% from the field in Big 12 play, did 9 points in 31 minutes against Texas here in this building a week ago. Logged a lot of minutes for Jeff Mitty. Asked a lot of the redshirt freshman, and she's delivering.
Former superstar down at Wichita Heights. Walker, the number 15 overall player in a class of 22. Tremendous talent coming back home to Kansas and to play at K-State. Sides wants to pass it off. Figured the buzzer won't hit it. I'm not sure she got it off in time anyway. Yet K-State ends that first half on a 13-2 run. And they don't allow a Kansas field goal for the last 6 minutes of the first quarter. A good start for the 7th-ranked team in the country.
As for Kansas State, which is not a bad thing, this KU squad, they are supposed to match up with TCU not until Saturday, February 3rd, down in Fort Worth. But because of a lack of players, a roster decimated by injury, TCU not able to go this week. They are asking for open tryouts, seeing if they can add players to their roster. But it is a question mark of what happens for the remaining few weeks here for TCU and what that means to the Big 12 slate as well.
Yeah, TCU was one of the great early parts of the season stories for this conference. Sedona Prince, Madison Connor, Jaden Owens, and now 2 of those 3, maybe all 3, injured. And out for a little bit. Chris Peter steps back. Let's go a long 3. It won't get anything. KU still not being able to get a 3. And on the other end, a designated play, drawn a player by Jeff Mitty and his crew from Maupin.
Just a great look at that alley-oop, sign of a back screen, but really a slip screen, and she's able to get herself open, and no help on the backside by Kansas. Great execution by the Wildcats, taking advantage of a little bit of different looks and forcing KU to have to make some changes on the fly. Those adjustments can be difficult defensively.
High post, it goes to Gregory. Trying to find Maupin one-on-one, and a cut by Sundell. Sundell was trying to sell the foul from Nichols, but couldn't get the whistle. On the other end, threw a floater on the baseline, won't fall. Offensive rebound for the Jayhawks. Cobbins.
Cobbins giving him about 18 minutes a game, and it's going to have to come up big now, especially without Jackson available, as she has still not come back out of the locker room. We don't know if we will see her again, and that changes how this Kansas lineup looks as well.
No doubt. I mean, now you go from an advantage for KU with Jackson against no one, the likes of Ayoka Lee, to now neither team with their star post player. Gregory trying to force one up. A tightly called first quarter has devolved into a little bit more physical second quarter, and no whistles fly.
And it was physical in that first quarter, just a few more whistles that we saw early. And not necessarily seeing that right now. So both of these teams are going to have to make that adjustment as well. You've got to be able to handle the pressure. You've got to know that you're going to have somebody up in your grill. If you're going to go hard to the bucket and try to score at the rim, there's going to be 3 or 4 players there. You've got to make those adjustments, be ready to find an open shooter.
Sanchez back in the game with 2 fouls for K-State. Sundell will try a sideline 3. Net.
We've seen Serena Sundell have games at which she has needed to score and others where she has been the distributor. Today, they need that offense. A confident looking 3 from the corner for the junior.
Last game against the Jayhawks, Sundell popped for 24 points and 7 assists. She came in today the best 3-point shooter by percentage for K-State. Good heady play by Nichols to get Gregory into the air, gets the foul, and 1 for Nichols.
That's that high basketball IQ right there by the freshman, and Brandon Snyder knows about it. He's got to put the ball in her hands. Now without Jackson and Holly Kursky are not able to get herself 3 from behind that 3-point line, those two are going to have to be the scorers, but draws contact and then just a great ability to finish. And a chance at that old-fashioned 3-point play. Foul goes on Gregory. Jeff Mitty's got to continue to look at how he wants to kind of platoon his lineup and find a way to stop Nichols, as well as find offense on the other end.
2 players, Nichols and Gregory, who share the same number, but have somewhat the same type of game. Those crafty inside moves, a little old school. And Nichols, coming off that injury, sidelined her for a little bit of her high school career, showing no ill effects. Already has 7 points. Will slip by Ronnie Glenn, couldn't finish, and she'll turn it over.
It's been more pressure out front by Kansas, which is what you probably expect now, especially without Jackson in the lineup. They've got to apply more pressure out front, but you can't get beat backdoor, you can't get beat on those slip screens.
Talecki getting the bulk of time in the post with no Jackson. Another 3-pointer by the Jayhawks won't fall, and a rebound foul on Kansas. That'll be on Cobbins. Came over the back.
You mentioned the missed 3 by Mayberry, and KU not able to knock down a 3 yet so far in this ballgame. She's shooting about 30% so far on the season from behind the 3-point line, but just 19% in Big 12 play. Much more pressure, not able to find that rhythm yet.
If there was a team, though, that played almost a Big 12 schedule in non-conference, it was the Kansas Jayhawks, the second toughest non-conference schedule in America, behind only UConn.
And high expectations coming into this season, picked 3rd in the preseason Big 12 poll. And as you said it, just a tough gauntlet of a non-conference schedule where I think they've learned a lot about themselves, but yet with some tough losses, it has changed the outlook for this season as well.
Nichols was trying to work a little give and go there, pick and pop with Talecki, but neither one got on the same page. The ball turned over.
And you can't be too unselfish. If you're Nichols and you've got a chance to be able to score, you've got to be able to get to the bucket and find a way to finish. Yes, they got to distribute. They got to find others to be able to help her offensively right now, but she can't turn down shots.
Walker in the lane. Shut off on the drive by Talecki. Sanchez gives off to Glenn. K-State with the largest lead of the game here, tied at 13, and another turnover by K-State.
A couple of miscues late here as we've seen sort of those backdoor looks, trying to find an open player as you see the pressure and trying to beat that pressure going backdoor. But sometimes you just got to have a little bit more patience. I think the pace of this game, Kansas wants to play at a higher clip, haven't been able to get going offensively to be able to set their defense either.
Franklin, Kursky finally screened open. Good look, but she missed it. Offensive rebound, Cobbins.
We said it. Cobbins is going to have to come in, the 6-foot super senior, the transfer from Alabama. She'd also been at North Dakota State. She's going to have to give him some minutes here today on the road.
Skip pass finds an open Walker. Three-pointer is good. Walker with 8. And just as Kansas hits their 4th field goal of the game, maybe trying to get some momentum, Walker with the answer. Her first taste of the Sunflower Showdown as a native Kansan. Got 2 of the top players in the country and 2 top players in the state here battling it out. Kansas City against Wichita. The Nichols and Walker. Kerskeyer splits a double team on a dribble drive. Her first basket.
Yeah, she needs to get going offensively. One of the most skilled and gifted players, I think, in the Big 12. Has always loved the game of Holly Kerskeyer, but she's got to be aggressive and assertive today.
Sanchez thought that 3 was in. KU gets the reprieve and back the other way. 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Next step ball will be a timeout. To Legby. Good pin pass inside to Cobbins.
Great ball movements and patience that time by Kansas. Could have taken some quick early shots within the framework, but yet used that shot clock, forced Kansas State to have to guard them all the way through.
Sundell, quick take to the basket, lays it in. 7 for Serena Sundell.
And Holly Kerskeyer right now a bit gassed here for KU, trying to stay matched up with Serena Sundell. Not as much depth right now for Kansas in the backcourt as the Wildcats have. Jeff Mitty's done a good job of platooning here early.
Kerskeyer and Franklin came in, 2 players in the top 10 in the league in minutes played. They put in a lot of work so far in the first half of the season. Drive and finish to the baseline by Franklin. So Kansas has started to find some success going to the basket.
You've got to attack, and without Ioka Lee in there, it changes things. You don't have the rim protector that there was there in your initial scout.
Diana Walker couldn't finish on the dribble drive. Jayhawks get a couple of stops in a row. They've hit their last 4 field goals. Kansas trying to chip into this lead that was at 1.15 for K-State. Both teams probably hopeful for a break. Franklin, a whistle and 1. Zakiya Franklin with an and 1.
A fantastic move right there by the super senior, just taking advantage of a late closeout and not making Kansas State pay. They make a poor decision defensively, but the Wildcats get a big 3 from the freshman earlier in the quarter. They got themselves a lead.
One day we'll have great women athletes.
Championship on the line.
Welcome back to Big 12 Now on ESPN+. I'm Hannah Whetstone. Head coach Jeff Mitty has been highly complimentary of Ziana Walker's recent performances, saying Ziana has been playing so well and she's getting so comfortable with everything we're asking her to do. She alleviates pressure off the other point guards, and her ability to create offense is second to none. She makes big shots and makes big defensive stops.
Just great recognition, as you pointed out, Missy, earlier on that drive and finish. As Talibdi had a back turn, Franklin will finish off the 3-point play.
And it is a comfort level for any young freshman, any young guard in this league, is that you've got to continue to understand what your role is. And I think the big factor for Walker and her success is just trying to not do too much.
Here's Lester one-on-one with Papadoulou. Could not make the shot. Papadoulou holds her ground against Lester. An 8-point lead for the Wildcats. So their 15-point bulge, which was the game's largest midway through this quarter, has shrunk. And now another back cut as Canessa, the Spaniard, who was a good friend of Sanchez, able to get her first basket. And the crowd responding, trying to urge on the Wildcats.
Patience and movement right now for this Kansas offense. That is what has gotten them back in this ball game. And also getting stops here on this end. They have turned up the heat defensively.
Jayhawks defensive metrics ranked near the bottom of the Big 12, so that's an area where they need improvement, no doubt. Lester with a shot clock winding down, takes the long jumper, can't hit it. Rebound falls to Kansas.
And no one to rebound the basketball offensively for the Wildcats. They've got to crash the glass. They know they can generate some second chance opportunities.
Turnover unforced by Cobbins. See K-State falling back. You'd be fearful of the secondary break, but it is costing them on the offensive end. Now Moffitt will come in for Lester.
You can probably send one or two back, but then you've got to have everybody else crash the glass, and they need to generate. You're looking not only for second chances on an easy putback, but I'm looking to extend the possession. That's what offensive rebounding does. It extends the possession and forces teams then to have to guard you through another reset of that shot clock.
So Moffitt returns for K-State in the post. Walker, a dribble drive shut off by Franklin. This is a little 7-0 run here by Kansas. They've hit their last 6 shots. Drive and a dish. Moffitt had the opportunity, now figures it out, goes up and scores.
Great decision by Sundell to be able to draw 2 to 3 defenders, and then a quick, easy dump off. Good hands by the sophomore. Moffitt having to step in and play some big minutes here this afternoon in this Sunflower Showdown.
Franklin on a switch, guarded by Moffitt now. Sundell forced into the post. Cobbins again gets good position. Too strong on the shot. First miss in the last 7 trips for Kansas. K-State the other way. Walker. 1:20 to go before the half. Wildcats started strong, had an 18-8 first quarter. Got up to 23-8 before the Jayhawks answered. Sundell, let's go with 3. Moffitt couldn't get it, and the Jayhawks another rebound.
Much more stagnant possession that time for the Wildcats, not really giving themselves any good looks.
Nichols draws yet another foul.
And that's where the action is that they've got to get downhill and force this Kansas State team to have to stop them. Brandon Schneider very pleased with the freshman as she wants them downhill, and they got to draw some fouls, get to the free throw line, give yourself a chance in different ways to score here against this K-State defense.
Nichols will get it on the inbound. Step back, thought about a 3. Good defense. Close out by Glenn. Forces her to give it up. Cobbins seemed like she may have taken an extra step, but does get inside and scores. 6 for the transfer from Alabama for that North Dakota State.
Yeah, coming in off the bench and giving them some big minutes here so far in this first half. A little extra boost offensively.
And the lead down to 6. Teams have done their work to get it into single digits before the half. Final 30 seconds on the first stanza. Walker creating, fade away, just short. Moffitt upon to get the board and is fouled.
And the leaping ability of the sophomore, she doesn't stand still, moves with the shot to be able to keep that possession alive. A tough look off the fadeaway by Walker, couldn't get it to go. But the possession here going to stay with Kansas State. They've got 22 on the game clock, reset of the shot clock to 20. So a 2-second differential here at the end of this second quarter.
Walker will get a Gregory returns with her 2 fouls. See if K-State plays indeed for the final shot. Sundell will roll up towards midcourt. It would appear that to be the case. As you said, 2 seconds the difference. K-State, in fact, could hold for almost a de facto final shot. They free up Gregory. Steps inside the 3-point line. Not there. The rebound batted to Kansas. An answer perhaps for Nichols. A chance to the 3-point line. A runner on its way will fall. We're at the